Welcome friends and neighbors to the Splash Live on Civic Center TV. I'm Tyler Kieft. Thank you for joining us. Close to home, sunshine welcomes in the sensation of spring and gets Greater West Bloomfield's gardeners hard at work preparing for their highlight hobby of the warm months of the year. At the West Bloomfield Library, a healthy assist to spruce up your garden. Civic Center TV's Jake Schaff has more.
As the saying goes, April showers bring May flowers, and everybody in the Greater West Bloomfield community is looking for ways to spruce up their garden and to add a little more color to this spring season. And the West Bloomfield Township Public Library is doing exactly that with their annual Seed Library, showcasing a wide variety of plants and goods that residents can grow from their very own backyards. Just stopping by, getting a pack of seeds, and starting your garden from there.
So the Seed Library is an initiative where people in the community of West Bloomfield can come and pick out a variety of seeds and take them home and plant them. Everything from flowers to vegetables to like things that work well in butterfly gardens and even more. A lot of libraries decided this is a fun way to be resourceful. Community members can save seeds and share them with other community members, and we provide those like pilot seeds to get them started.
And how does the process typically work for people to stop by and get their seeds?
So the seeds are available here at West Acres at the branch library out on our terrace. They can come by and they get up to 3 packets per week. And they just grab whichever ones they want. They can, and then we have a logbook to let us know which ones of them that they have taken.
Why is a program like this so important, especially throughout the Greater West Bloomfield community, and especially right now?
We're just promoting that being resourceful and recycling and reusing, that, you know, when you grow a garden, you provide your own fruits and vegetables, you can save the seeds and continue doing this for years to come with this one starter pack of seeds that we provide you.
What have you heard in terms of feedback from residents or people who've stopped by getting some seeds and have already started to grow their own gardens?
They're excited. When we started, it was too cold to have them out on the patio, so we had them right here at the desk. So we got to interact and talk with the people who are actually picking up their seeds, and a lot of people, they wanted to pick up a few more than 3 packs, and I'll be like, come back next week, you can get a few more packs. So they're just excited to get started and plant some of those varieties. Growing your own garden is really cool, and you can learn a lot doing that. And just being a library and providing the space that we can give people the information to learn and learn new things and try out a new craft or a new activity or a new hobby like gardening.
This provides everything you want to see for the spring season: beautiful flowers, fresh produce, and instilling a love of gardening and making the world a greener place. For Civic Center TV, I'm Jake Schaff.
You can see their whole lineup and learn more about their seeds program at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Couple different places you can go. Their website, wblib.org, where they have all their programs from throughout the spring and every season of the year. You can also follow the West Bloomfield Library. They're on both Facebook and on Instagram. Same handle, at West Bloom LIB. In the aftermath of the attack at Temple Israel, the West Bloomfield Township Board recognized the heroic work of local police, fire, EMS, dispatch, and water department personnel, all of whom helped to ensure that over 100 children, as well as a multitude of teachers, staff, and others in that building on that day were able to exit safely, reflecting on the heroism of that team, as well as how the community-wide response defines the heart of West Bloomfield Township.
Every part of the department operated at the highest level.
When everyone else is running out, you're running right into harm's way, and we see you, and we appreciate you.
A recognition for local heroes, those that never once sought the honor, but earned it. While the average person would run from harm's way, they ran towards it, committing themselves to hundreds of people in need in what may have been the worst moments of their lives. Deputy Chief Mark Lowry says leading these first responders is easy. It is them who makes the toughest challenges yield the brightest results in the darkest hours.
If you have the opportunity, turn around and take a look. That's about 1/3 of my staff. I get a little choked up every time I talk about them. That is, the men and women you see there are probably the most professional, knowledgeable and kind folks that you can ask for. And that's the team that shows up on time, every time, when you dial 911. The 12th was a very challenging day, very challenging day. And this is the group of folks that made it happen. I would love to take credit for it. I had nothing to do with it. This is your team, so thank you.
There was plenty of high praise from public safety and township leadership, but also from those who know the life of a first responder, such as trustee Diane Rosenfeld-Swimmer, a career nurse, and Ray Ahonen, who spent 20 years serving in the West Bloomfield Fire Department.
I, too, am one of those people that worked and had no snow days, no sick days, no holidays, worked every holiday, every Christmas, every New Year's Eve, every New Year's Day. So I want to tell you from the very bottom of my heart how appreciative of you, how appreciative I am of you and what you do every day, putting your lives on the line for complete strangers. Thank you.
The oath that police, fire, and the other agencies, our local, state, federal friends took, that was revealed to the very depth of its core. And I say this most respectfully, I don't know that they would have needed taken an oath. They would have been there. They would have done it. They would have marched into that, and they did a phenomenal job.
On March 12th, in the wake of a horrific act of hate, West Bloomfield's first responders displayed their love for the community that they serve. Now their leaders call for that example to be the calling card of the community. Love for one another.
I believe we all, myself included, in this community get very high grades on everything that happened on the 12th. And I just salute all that came to the rescue. But we have to listen to one another. We need to work together so all voices are heard, motivated to learn from one another, listen to each other, respect each other, and cherish the truly, truly diverse culture that we live in here in West Bloomfield.
On behalf of the Chaldean community, we've been honored by everybody. I got interviewed by a magazine in New York City, and it's an honor, but I want you guys to remember this. If this had happened to us, Temple Israel would have been right there for us. So we're all one. As far as I'm concerned, we're all one.
May we hold our children a little tighter every evening. May our loved ones and friends abundantly and profoundly know how we feel about them. God bless our community. And 12 days ago, ladies and gentlemen, the very face of evil visited Temple Israel, but so did good, so did right, and so did hope. That's who we are.
Heroes then and now, just over a month later, heroes still showing up every single day, getting their due recognition by the West Bloomfield Township Board and so many others that attended that meeting and in the days, weeks, and now over a month since the attack at Temple Israel on March 12th. You can see the entire meeting and the full recognition of those heroes. The full Township Board meeting from that date is available on demand on civiccentertv.com. Now is your chance to join the team at the WBFD as the West Bloomfield Fire Department wants to hire you to keep the community safe, responding to fire and medical emergencies with some of the top public safety officials in the entire state. It pays well with top pays upwards of over $106,000, plus specialized training available for wherever you want to go in public safety, hazmat, technical rescue, drone operations, water rescue, and more. And applications are open right now. So there's going to be a lot of competition. You want to get your name in early, get those interviews going, get the process moving along, because a lot of people want to work in public safety right here in Greater West Bloomfield. You may not get another one of these chances for quite a while. Applications are open right now, so the only question that's left, will you answer the call? Find more information on Facebook at WB Fire Department or apply now on wbtownship.org/jobs. That's the place to go to find all that information. Both police, fire, and so many other departments actively hiring at this time. Some of the best actors in Oakland County are close to home right here in Greater West Bloomfield. And soon they will take the stage at West Bloomfield High School to bring you a classic stage play right here in your hometown. Bye Bye Birdie is coming to West Bloomfield High School on April 24th through the 26th. A cornucopia of catchy tunes, comedy, and romance all packed into one play. Joining me with a preview is Caitlin Williams and Ezra Shear, two of the Lakers' top theatrical superstars, joining us on the Splash Live to preview the big show. Thank you both for coming on the show today.
Of course.
Glad to have you both on. Caitlin, I want to start with you because you've been involved in the theater program for a while here. This is a pretty special show, and to be able to put on a show like this, just how much effort goes into it from the students' perspective, because this really is a student-wide effort.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of work goes in just from the very beginning, starting with bringing us all together for our first rehearsal. It's like everyone's like just hitting the ground running with like highlighting their scripts, doing a bunch of like character work just from the jump, all the way, like a couple months of work all the way until we close. It's really incredible.
Continuing with you, Caitlin, what character are you playing and what maybe drew you to audition or ultimately take the role of that character?
So I'm the student director and I'm also in the ensemble. And what drew me to audition in the first place is that it is my final show at WB, and that's just as hurtful as it is sweet. But I've student directed and added in 3 shows in a row at this point, including our MIFA production. And I think it's just always fun to do the 2 things you love the most at the same time, because I think the skills kind of build on each other. And so like being a good director makes you a good actor, and being a good actor can help you be a great director as well.
Ezra, I want to go to you too to get your connection to this show. What drew you into being interested in coming and playing in Bye Bye Birdie, and what's kept you interested now as you get closer to that opening day?
Oh, what's kept me interested? Like everything. It's all just fun. You like come to school every day and you get to sing and have fun and like dance and act. And it's just like, just honestly, just really fun. What drew me in the first place was, well, I think people like who do theater, this is my first year doing it. And like the first experience I had with anyone like talking to me about it was they said they'd seen like a video of me on Instagram singing. And they were like, oh, you did such a good job. You should do theater. And they were just really nice to me about that. And so I thought that like, I was like, well, these people seem really great. So I should try out.
It's not just fun to act in these plays or to see these plays, whether it's at West Bloomfield High School, another school, or on another level professionally or through community theater. What the goal of these plays, like any other media, is to learn something and see a different world through a different perspective. As you've auditioned, rehearsed, and now you get ready to perform Bye Bye Birdie, Ezra, what have you learned from your character, from the other characters, and from the story behind the stage play?
That's a good question. The story, it takes place in the 50s, and it brings you through this into this world of almost hysteria, right? Because people are so obsessed with this rock star Conrad Birdie. And so it is really like an upside down world where things, like an absurd world, things don't totally make sense. So that is an interesting aspect. You get to learn, like, you come to the show about what it was like to live in the 50s, and you know there are some connections to today. I mean, there still is like hysteria about things and pop music and movies and rock stars and things like that. So there's definitely a modern connection, and also a lot you can learn from going back in time.
And so much of the themes of Bye Bye Birdie surrounds celebrity and fame, and for all the good that comes from that, like Ezra being found out by the student directors and others involved in theater and saying, hey, you should join us in this production, and now being a big part of their team. Caitlin, there's also the downside of that you can kind of draw comparisons with to social media in our modern day. How has that maybe factored into the way you're directing your actors on the stage and their approaches to their characters?
I think it, like, with the hysteria aspect of it and the negatives of it, I like to always play it up. And so it seems just as bizarre as it is. And I think like as it comes down, we can always see that theme of being true to yourself, no matter who your icons are or whatever the case may be. I think that just concept of taking charge of your own life and figuring out who you are as a person, regardless of who you look up to, is very important.
Ezra, I want to go back to you because Caitlin's had such a wealth of experience as a student director, being part of the ensemble, being part of that theater program for so many years, and has been able to see the way that teamwork plays in to putting on a show, especially something like this that is so heavily character driven, but also is meant to engage the audience a bit too. From your perspective, how has teamwork played into getting your team ready to perform Bye Bye Birdie in just a couple of weeks?
Right. I would say teamwork is the most important thing. The thing you run into the most is like communication every day. You need to be able to communicate. I've learned when things are going well and like you want to keep doing something that way, and that's a good way to do that scene. Or, you know, if someone does a really good job with a song, you're like, that was awesome. You also need to be able to communicate when you're like, okay, this isn't working for me somehow. Like, I think maybe we could do it this way. And you need to be able to, you know, work with other people and get ideas from them and be able to take criticism yourself. So there's definitely a lot of teamwork that goes into every rehearsal.
Ezra Shearer and Caitlin Williams are with us on the Splash Live. Cast members and crew members from Bye Bye Birdie coming to West Bloomfield High School beginning on April 24th, running through April 26th. There is the flyer on your screen. You can see it a little bit left of center, that QR code. Pause the video, come back to it later on, scan that QR code. That's how you'll get tickets for the Friday and Saturday evening shows and that Sunday matinee as well. Caitlin, a couple more questions for both you and Ezra. I want to begin with you on this one because these are complicated stories for adults to comprehend and let alone perform. Then to go on to have students do this, learn something from the show, and still while they're developing and they're getting their own world perspectives. How does participating in something like Bye Bye Birdie or any theater production help you better understand the world that you're now going into as you wrap up high school and go into adult life?
I would say, wow, how does Bye Bye Birdie help me prepare for the world? I think definitely the process of making it has taught me a lot. The process of kind of coming after school every day for, you know, a few hours, and, you know, also I think there's like a certain amount of persistence it takes because if you're not feeling like happy or something, this is a comedy, so you need to like the song says, put on a happy face. You need to be able to sort of change your attitude like that. And that's something that's honestly a skill that's like been really valuable that I've learned through this process.
Caitlin, same question for you. What have you learned from this entire process, from the story that you're performing and that your actors are performing, that you'll be able to take on as you continue with your life and go into adulthood after high school this year?
I feel like from the production aspect aside, of course there's that work ethic and that drive that you're always putting in, but I do always like to take something from every show that I've ever done. And like I said before, it's just that concept of realizing that you really can just take your life into your own hands. And I feel like that's something that's really important because some people can feel like really stuck in a certain situation that they're yearning to be outside of. And it's just the 1 second that you realize that actually I don't have to be stuck. I can be free. I can do this. I can do that. I think that's always really important, to never let yourself stay stuck just because it's comfortable.
All right, 30 seconds for each of you. I'm going to go to Ezra first. Ezra, give us one reason why you believe the community should come out and see Bye Bye Birdie in late April.
It's funny. We're going to be really good singing, and it's going to be awesome, atmosphere and vibes. There's going to be really cool lighting and set design, and you're just going to have a great time.
Caitlin, you know all that stuff from behind the scenes, too. From your perspective, why should people come see this show?
I think, well, yes, it's obviously great to look at, but I think it's the message that's just really important. It's never too late to take your life into your own hands. We see kids take their lives into their own hands. We see adults like Albert take their lives into their own hands. And I just want people to remember that it's never too late.
It's all good conversation starters, too, for modern themes that have a classic element to them that are seen through the perspective of Bye Bye Birdie. Ezra, Caitlin, thank you both so much, and congratulations on your upcoming show.
Thank you.
You can see them at West Bloomfield High School. It all kicks off on April 24th and 25th. That's a Friday and a Saturday, both evening shows at 7 p.m. And then there's a Sunday matinee on the 26th at 2:30. All of those easy to find. They're right at West Bloomfield High School. You can find more information and follow along with the theater program. Follow them on Instagram at West Bloomfield Theater. That's West Bloomfield Theater with an R-E at the end. A little bit of British thrown into there for you today. The spring season in Greater West Bloomfield means it's high foot traffic season on our community's premier park space, the West Bloomfield Trail. Close to home, West Bloomfield Parks is seeking your help to bring the community closer to its 6.8-mile ambassador and ensure a safe and enjoyable fun season for all that step foot on the trail. Joining me with more information is Megan Tahako from West Bloomfield Parks. Megan, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Tyler. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you on to talk about the Trail Ambassador program. There's so much that people can experience out on the West Bloomfield Trail. It's one of the few things in Greater West Bloomfield that does impact all 4 of the Greater West Bloomfield communities. Tell us about the Trail Ambassador program. What are the basics people should know?
Sure. So the goal for us with the Trail Ambassador program is just to have some extra eyes, some extra ears out on the trail. We want to make sure that we have some resources out there, some friendly faces for our residents where they can share information, answer questions, and then certainly report back if they see any issues or if there's anything that we need to address. So we're really looking forward to launch this program and just have that the ambassadors be an extension of our staff.
And we know so many people are passionate about their parks here in Greater West Bloomfield, and there is so much to cover. There's almost 7 miles of that trail space that spans throughout all 4 of the Greater West Bloomfield communities and a little bit beyond. So how much of a help really will volunteers play in addition to what West Bloomfield Parks organizationally already has to oversee the trail during the busiest season of its year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is a very large trail. It's really a gem of the community, but it can be hard to manage all those spaces. We certainly rely on our regular trail users, and so this is kind of just a more formal way to get those people more involved with us, get them some training, make sure they have the tools that they need to be a good ambassador out on the trail. So we're really hoping that we can get a good group of volunteers for our initial year here and then just continue to grow it as we go.
And what is West Bloomfield Parks looking for in the Trail Ambassador? What are some of those key traits that may make someone perfect for this volunteer position?
I think the most important trait would just be a friendly personality, somebody that likes people, somebody that wants to be out talking to people, wants to share stories, wants to engage, is really friendly and welcoming. We're not looking for somebody to be out there to be a rule enforcer per se. We really want somebody just to engage with our residents, certainly share information and answer questions, but somebody who's just really friendly and welcoming. That's going to be the most important trait.
Now, if someone may not have the time commitment to necessarily go through the training, become a formal park ambassador for the trail this particular season, what are some of those safety concerns or hazards that maybe they could be looking out for regardless as they frequent the trail and help your team address?
Yeah, certainly. So the trail is beautiful. It's covered, there's woods on either side and a lot of spaces. So sometimes when we have some of those summer storms, there might be some branches that come down, and we really do rely on our trail users to let us know if there's any type of hazard out on the trail or anything that just needs to be cleaned up. So certainly that's one way that you can help us out. And then if you're walking your dog out on the trail, just making sure that you're cleaning up after your pet. We always use the mantra, leave no trace. So if you are out there and you see any garbage, if you just feel inspired to help us out and pick up and keep it clean for everybody, I mean, a little bit of effort really does go a long way to keep the trail looking beautiful for all of our users.
The training will take place at the West Bloomfield Police Department. They, of course, play a huge role in the safety of our community. How are they helping your team properly train these volunteers to be ready to look out for these hazards and address them in the correct way to keep both themselves and trail goers safe?
Sure. So we partner with the police department on so many different things, whether it's de-escalation training or helping us look at our events to make sure they're ran in a way that's as safe as possible for our residents. So this is just another way that we can partner up so that our residents have all the resources that they need to be out on the trail. So we're going to talk about trail etiquette. We're going to talk about good communication. And then the police department, they're going to cover some really basic kind of first aid skills, what to do if, they find a dog off leash with its owner. Some of those circumstances, they're certainly more versed in than we would be. So they're going to cover those topics, and then we'll stick to the trail etiquette.
Megan Tahako is with us from West Bloomfield Parks as they are set to begin their Trail Ambassador program in 2026, seeking volunteers like you to man the trail all throughout the spring and summer season, keep it safe and keep it fun for everybody all across those 6.8 miles. And Megan, we talked about that distance, that span of the trail being a big part for the need of these volunteers, but taking it back to the origin of this program, what really did spark the need to have some extra eyes and ears out and about during these seasons?
Yeah, I mean, as the popularity of the trail just continues to grow, we certainly get more calls from residents of maybe certain issues they're seeing out on the trail. And we want to do our best as WB Parks to address those issues. So it could be everything from bikers going too fast. E-bikes have gotten really popular. So that's one issue we see. Certainly pet owners maybe not cleaning up after their pets. And sometimes walkers, maybe they take up, if they're walking in a large group, they might walk, 5 or 6 people across, and then it ends up blocking the trail. So bikers or runners aren't able to pass them easily. So just some of those kind of friendly reminders we do get calls and complaints about. And so this is just another way that we can try to address those and hopefully encourage everyone to share the trail and be good trail stewards.
Yeah, you mentioned a little bit of the trail etiquette that you're hoping more people will engage in this season, especially with the onset of more e-bikes and other devices that make that trail experience a little bit easier to see the breadth of that trail. But in terms of the trail ambassadors, how will they play a role in not only maintaining that trail etiquette, but teaching it too? Because you want people to enjoy it, you want people to have their fun. You don't want to stop them and act like this is an enforcement, they're doing something wrong. How does education play into their role this summer?
Yeah, I think even if they're not necessarily educating while they're out on the trail, reporting that information back to us will help us determine what type of educational campaigns we need to launch as an organization, right? So whether that's maybe making a video or setting up some tables and then allowing staff to do some of the education out on the trail, we certainly never want to create a circumstance where a trail ambassador might feel uncomfortable or feel like they have to enforce rules or anything like that. We really want it to be a positive experience for both the trail ambassador and the trail users. But just having those eyes and ears and being able to report back some of the more common issues, and if there's certain areas where those issues are more prevalent than other areas, since it is such a large trail, all of that data and information is really going to be invaluable for us.
And lastly, what will be the time commitment for those that do volunteer to be a trail ambassador?
So it's really as little or as much as somebody wants to volunteer. We have all of the shifts laid out on our Sign Up Genius, and trail users can just sign up for maybe 1 a week or 5 a week, however much they want to donate their time. If they're regular trail users and they're out there anyway, we would encourage them just to sign up for a shift during their regular trail use to kind of expand, their opportunity out on the trail.
And then 30 more seconds, I know we got to get you going, Megan. If someone is not able to attend that initial training that we've seen the flyer for on our screens a few times, how else can they still get involved with the Trail Ambassador program?
Absolutely. We wouldn't want anyone not to participate just because they can't attend the training. It will be recorded, and we are looking at hosting a second training with the police department in May, just depending on how much interest we have from residents. I think we have 30 or 35 volunteers signed up for our first training. So we're really excited to launch it. It seems like something the community is really embracing. So certainly please reach out to our office. Crystal Smith is our trail guru here at WB Parks, and she can answer any questions that you might have. She can be reached directly at 248-451-1912.
Megan, appreciate your time, and hopefully we get a lot of people volunteering for a large trail that's going to get a lot of foot traffic in the months ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tyler.
Megan Taco joining us from West Bloomfield Parks. The Trail Ambassador program is underway. Your chance to volunteer. And hey, look, who needs another excuse to go out on the West Bloomfield Trail all throughout the summer? If you needed one, now you got one. You can volunteer. Keep it pristine, keep it pretty, keep it fun for everyone in our community and those that will visit us to take a walk down that 6.8-mile adventure that spans all across all 4 of the Greater West Bloomfield communities. For more information on how you can volunteer to be a Trail Ambassador, wbparks.org, or follow them on Facebook at WB Parks. The West Bloomfield Township Public Library is home to the best van in the land, and with it, they're taking their show on the road to bring education, literacy, and its award-winning services close to home in your area of the community. Here to tell us more about Fran the Van is Victoria Edwards from the West Bloomfield Public Library. Victoria, thanks for coming on the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Glad to have you on as we talk about this new program with West Bloomfield Library that's taking them on the road, all those services, those books, those programs, the resources that people seek from the 2 branches. Now it may be coming a little bit closer to them. Tell us a little bit about how this van will only expand the library's reach in Greater West Bloomfield.
Yeah, so we've been for a few years now really ramping up our presence beyond the library's building. Obviously, we've got 2 branches and we do a lot of programming, a lot of collections here, but not everybody has easy access to the library all the time. So we've expanded our outreach over the last few years, and the van is really going to help us continue in that expansion and make it easier for our staff to bring the library to the community and make it more visible when we're out in the community. So Fran, as we're calling her, is our new outreach van, and we're really excited to be able to have a vehicle that we can more easily take more library materials out into the community with.
And Victoria, I don't want to call you out on this. You said that we're calling her Fran the Van, but it's not the library that named it. It was the people in the community. How exciting was that to get that level of involvement and quite a lot of debate too about what this van should be named?
Yes, it was really fun to be part of this campaign. So we had staff members first submit ideas for names for the van. We had, among staff members, actually submitted like 40 plus names. We had to narrow that list down because there were just too many options to choose from. And there were a lot of really good options from that list. So it was a really difficult task for me. But we narrowed the list down to about 5 names and had our community select from those 5 names and pick what their favorites were. It was a pretty tight contest between Fran and we also had Van Gogh was a very popular name. And ultimately, Fran was the winner. We're calling her Fran the Library Van. And it's short for Fueling Reading Across Neighborhoods. So that's Fran's little introduction, but she's got her own personality and she's really coming into herself over the last couple of weeks. So we're excited for the community to get to know her a little better.
You can see Fran, the library van, on your screen if you're watching us on civiccentertv.com. If not, come back around later on or visit the library's Facebook page at West Bloom LIB to see even more about Fran, the library van. Victoria, what sort of services can people expect to be mobile throughout our community with Fran, the library van?
Yeah, so Fran is going to be used to enable us to be more efficient with some of our existing library services. So right now, our home delivery service, we do deliver or library materials that we bring to senior living facilities, and we'll bring our programming and library materials to the schools at times as well. So you'll be able to see when the library is present at some of those off-site locations and some of our community partners. We also are going to be getting ready for summer. So we have a lot of off-site programs that we've been doing these last few summers at different parks and really all across the community. So Fran is going to have a presence at those off-site events. Her first outing is going to be at a pop-up at Bloomer Park on May 19th. Her first official outing. She's had a couple soft outings here and there, but take her first in. And then we're going to have Fran available also. The biggest thing is summer reading kickoff. We're getting ready to go with summer. I think everyone is ready for a change of season here. So June 6th, we'll have Fran the Van at our summer reading kickoff just to be a sort of a mascot and a presence for people to see that new library extension.
And we know, Victoria, that the library has been brainstorming and enacting different methods over the recent years to leverage technology for greater engagement and greater reach of library services across the community. Where did the idea for this van come from?
We've been talking about getting a van now for years, so it was really a matter of being able to pull this off. Fortunately, we had a generous bequest by Ruth and Stanley Elbling and an additional donation from Gary Davis in memory of Sally Davis that allowed us to purchase this van entirely through donor funds. So that was really, really cool to be able to offer to our community a little earlier. And we were also you may have noticed the tattoos on the side of Fran here. She's got a couple tats. There's some artwork that was created by Slow Gin Fizz. Nicole Ray is the artist's name. And she did some illustrations of our main library and of the West Acres branch that we put on the side of the van as well. We really want this to be a community vehicle. So it's representative of the community. It's part of the library that goes out into the community, and we're just excited to be able to continue in our community-centered services and keep going down that path.
Victoria Edwards is with us from the West Bloomfield Township Public Library, introducing Fran, the library van, which will be on the road all throughout the community, introducing her to all 4 of the Greater West Bloomfield area communities throughout the spring and the summer ahead. We mentioned some of those events coming up, and Victoria, earlier on, you had mentioned a really good point too about how not everybody can get out to the main library or out to the West Acres branch for this service or the other, and this does really help them out. But in your calculations with the library staff, and as Fran begins to get mobile throughout our community, who do you expect will be getting the most benefit of these services now being available mobilely through Fran, the library van?
It's hard to pinpoint the exact community. I think everyone's going to come to love Fran, hopefully as much as I do. But we're going to especially see her being used with in partnership with our schools and students in attendance in those districts. Families, I think, will come to really see Fran out and about in the community. And then also we're taking her, to senior living facilities, and she's allowing us to take a lot more sort of materials and programming out into those communities too. So I think both our families and our seniors in this community are going to benefit from Fran's presence here.
And it's going to be great too, because you're going to be able to get that engagement at so many different events. You're going to be able to show some of these services out and about that maybe people won't know about by going into the West Acres branch or into the main library, or if they haven't been there in a number of years. So how does this van then factor into combining with all the other new technologies that are already being brought into the library and will be in the weeks, months, and years ahead to, as has been the goal for many years, bring the library into the modern age and anticipate what's coming forward?
Yeah, I think the library is already doing a lot of work, and the van just lets us demonstrate the work that we have to more community members, more people who might not have been able to reach us as easily before. We have, as you mentioned, our e-library services. We have an app now. We're doing a lot of, I think, really innovative programming, trying to do more STEM programs, and really working on building literacy from the ground up in the community. So I think Fran is just part of that slate of services that enables and empowers the library to really be a community-centered library in the 21st century here.
And of course, right now, introducing Fran to the community, those services that are going to be available mobilely through the library all throughout the year, using Fran, the library van. That's where you're at right now, as this has become a new service through the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Long term, what are some of the goals for how Fran, the library van, will be of benefit not only to the library and its community engagement, but to those that the library serves across our community?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to help us, well, really on a staff side, it helps staff to not have to take their personal vehicles to a lot of these offsite programs that we're doing. It helps them to be able to have a large space that we can tote library materials in. You know, we have things like a tent, a large tent and large signage that can sometimes take up a considerable amount of space in your vehicle. So we're really excited to have Fran for that. And on the staffing side too, we'll also be using her, you know, to kind of help our maintenance team when they need to pick up really large orders to help improve the services available in our library system. So Fran's going to be doing some late work there. She's going to be doing some grunt work and toting materials here and there. But ultimately, I think the biggest thing that helps Fran move across the community is just sort of as this a new figure, a new member of our library team. We've added her to our staff page, and she has a little biography there as well. We have a new page on our library website for the library van where you can find updated information about the programs that the van will be attending. And she's got a little biography at the bottom. So if you'd like to get to know her a little bit better, you know, she's a dynamic figure. She doesn't like car washes, damaged library books, or potholes, but she's big on traveling. She loves to collect library cards, and we also say she likes to break dance or breaking.
Very nice. Fran, the library van, you can see her on your screen. You can see her at the main library right now and soon all throughout the community. Victoria, anything else we should know about these new services coming from the West Bloomfield Township Public Library?
Biggest thing is just to mention, if you're looking for Fran out in the community, to go to that webpage. That's on our library website, wblib.org. If you go to our services page, or if you just search on the website for library van, you'll see Fran's page, and you'll get to learn a little bit more about her, but also see all the events that she's coming up to here. We're working on our summer tour plans right now, so we'll have more announcements about that in the coming months.
Well, Victoria, we appreciate you joining us to introduce us to Fran, the library van. We'll hopefully get out and about with Fran very soon to see how she's integrating into the community and how the community is benefiting from this new service from the library. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
More information is available on wblib.org, or you can follow them on Facebook and on Instagram for more of Fran's adventures, both of those at West Bloom LIB. It may have been one of the most disturbing experiences of this Spartan's modern life, but for many at home across Greater West Bloomfield, it was a night nobody will soon forget as the Michigan Wolverines men's basketball team won the NCAA championship for the first time since 1989. I had a chance to speak to perhaps the biggest Michigan fan in all of the town, Doug Cohen from Hale Media, who spoke to me about the new wave of college basketball, the leadership of head coach Dusty May, as well as how U of M athletes are putting the stories of Wolverine sports in the hands of the fans. Here's our conversation.
It is great to be a Michigan Wolverine. Hail to the victors, leaders and best.
Yeah, you know, for so much of the year, we look at the calendar from a college basketball standpoint as January, February, Izzo. And after the month of Izzo comes April, but I think at this point we're skipping straight to May after what Dusty May did in just 2 years at the University of Michigan. Doug, there's so much debate about the way that Dusty May has built this program into a champion in just 2 years. From your side of it, and I have a feeling I know what your opinion is on this, where's your take on the balance between building a program, building a team that lasts the years, in the age of NIL and in the age of paying players to transfer to your school?
Well, I mean, listen, Dusty's done it in an incredible fashion. You know, he mastered the current landscape, whatever you think of the current landscape, and it is broken. It is very messy. It's an overcorrection from what was really a problem and what was getting out of hand for years before there was NIL, when the money was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it got to the point where it started to feel more like exploitation of student athletes. And so now they can get paid, and it's exploded into this crazy, you know, Charles Barkley had said, I used to call it the Wild Wild West, but at this point calling it the Wild Wild West would be a disservice to the Wild Wild West, because it's nuts. And I think we can all acknowledge that. But given that being the state of college basketball, you got to navigate that, and nobody did it better than Dusty May. He assembled an unbelievable roster, and he did it in a way where, it was a progression. Because last year he brought in a couple of big men, got us to the Sweet 16, won the Big Ten tournament, and did it in a way where he had two big men, Vlad and Danny Wolf, and turned those two players' games up such a level that it attracted other big men who wanted some of that magic and wanted to be able to increase their game. And he took a guy like a Mara, who was being underutilized at UCLA, and saw what Dusty did for Vlad and Danny and said, you know what, that's the guy I want to play for. So, Mara could have gotten a lot of money at a lot of different places, but Dusty is the big man whisperer at this point. He's done amazing things with big men in 2 seasons at Michigan. And not only did he go out and assemble a roster of talent, but, he had an eye for the talent that he knew he could fit together as pieces of a puzzle. And that takes a certain, mastery of the approach. And he got them all on a roster together and built a culture in a very short time of an unselfish team that loves each other, loves being here at Michigan, plays unselfishly. And this guy really created lightning in a bottle. Like, I don't know if, I've ever seen anything like it. I don't think anyone's ever seen it.
Yeah, and there's something to be said, too, about, look, you can say, oh, well, he bought this championship team. It's not a real team. But at the same time, you have to look at it from the other side of it of, you can bring all these great players in. You can pay them tons of money to come to the University of Michigan. That doesn't mean it's going to be a cohesive unit. That doesn't mean it's going to be a consistent winner. And it doesn't mean that it's going to translate to the round of 64, the round of 68, the round of 32, 16, Elite Eight, Final Four, and a championship game. There is that process to it. And so, Doug, especially now as you have that pulse with Hail Media on how former players, former coaches, those connected to a program like Michigan feel, what's their thought on this new era that's taken over Michigan, a school that, much like my alma mater at Michigan State, does have a tradition of connecting with its players and building a culture where there is that familiarity, especially now in an era where, hey, look, the benefit is you win a title. The drawback is there may not be that strong connection that builds over 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I just think you have to adapt to it, and I think our alums have adapted to it. They just recognize this is the way it is. And I think the fact that these guys, these guys truly, from the moment they stepped on campus, they embraced being here. And I think that really, everybody welcomed them, and they enjoyed being welcomed. They enjoyed being at Michigan. I think the fact that they embraced it the way they did allowed us to get to know them in a short period of time and appreciate the type of ball they played and the type of team they really were. So I think everybody really appreciated that. There's a lot of teams that tried to bring in transfers. And if we're just talking about your alma mater, they brought in 4 transfers too.
Yeah.
Just as many as we did in this offseason. We just happened to bring in the guys that fit what we were trying to do and assembled them. Not just did it translate into Sweet 16 and Elite 8 and 5, it dominated. We dominated in historic fashion. Going back to that trip out to Vegas when we blew away San Diego State, Auburn, and Gonzaga like they were nothing. We tore through the NCAA tournament with a bigger margin of points victory combined than anybody ever has, I think, in history. I think it was like 114-point differential. And so that's just, it's hard not to be excited and not appreciate it. And, you mentioned Hail Media. Listen, our basketball show on Hail Media is Go Blue Hoops, which is hosted by Tim McCormick. And we had just from this year's roster on the show, this year we had Will Cheddar, Adai Mara, Yaxel Lendeborg, Namari Burnett, Winters Grady, and Merez Johnson Jr. All those guys came on the show. And they all talked about Michigan, how much they love Michigan and their teammates and Dusty and the culture and how they play together. They didn't talk about themselves and their future and their NBA aspirations or the money, or they didn't really want to talk about any of that stuff. They wanted to talk about Michigan. So I think it was hard not to embrace and appreciate this if you're a Michigan fan or alum. They embraced it, so we embraced it right back.
And it seems, too, throughout the history of Michigan, when they're on the up and up, when they're playing really good basketball, when they're consistently winning games, competing for Big Ten titles, competing in the tournament, winning or positioning themselves to possibly win championships, there is that pride for basketball. And when it goes away, you become a football school again. But what does something like this do for both now and into the future, as Michigan now is a powerhouse in both of the major prestige sports, in football and in basketball?
Yeah, well, and listen, I think it just kind of validates and expands the brand and the power of the brand as a whole, because Michigan is such a powerful brand to begin with, and internationally known. It's such a recognizable brand. And on top of that, we're about to win potentially a hockey national championship this weekend, which is just insane for the juniors and seniors at Michigan now to have had a run while they're students there of winning a football national championship, a basketball national championship, and potentially a hockey national championship all in 3 years is crazy. And that stuff does, there's a direct correlation between sports championships and the number of applications that come in for the school. It's only going to help, the kind of the rich get richer type of paradigm. We're going to continue to build our brand and the prestige of the brand with all of this success. And don't forget, not only was this the best men's Michigan basketball team we've ever had, we just had our best women's basketball team we've ever had in our history, with a 7th-ranked finish and another, only our second Elite Eight appearance and 28 wins, which is the most in our history. So and we have a women's show on Hale Media Group as well, which is great, which is Nolan and Hobbs, hosted by Maddie Nolan and Jordan Hobbs, who are both great players at Michigan and are both currently playing in Europe. So we've been able to, it's been a great ride for us at Hale Media and for me to be able to cover these two teams and produce a podcast for both as they have such historic seasons. So it's really been, it's been a great ride, and it is. It's Hale Media Group on YouTube and Facebook and all the other socials. It's all one word, Hale Media Group, and you can check out all of the podcasts there. There's a ton of content.
Yeah, it's a great way for you to dive into Michigan sports from both fans, former players, and active players. Also get a full perspective, including and professional broadcasters on top of that, like Tim McCormick, that are going to be able to give you such great insight, especially in a time like this where Michigan sports has never potentially been at a higher point than in this moment in time. Doug, before we let you go, we are up against it. You mentioned some of the ways that Hale Media Group has been covering this historic run of championships for the University of Michigan this season, and the excitement behind some of their other teams, including the women's basketball team that Kim Barnes-Arico has built into its own power in its own right. How does Hale Media take a championship run like this from football a few years ago, men's basketball, possibly hockey, and the up and up of teams like the women's basketball team, and get fans even more involved into their favorite school?
Well, it's just upon us, really. It falls upon us to make sure that we're putting out the greatest content that we can, lining up great guests, having really thoughtful interviews, and good production value, good consistency, good talent around the creators who are hosting these shows. And I think we've done a really good job with that. And now we've got sponsors as well, which is great. Michigan Medicine came on board to sponsor the Go Blue Hoops podcast, which is fantastic. So that's a great brand to have on board supporting us. Football Alumni of Michigan is involved as well, which is a great organization, which is kind of what Hale Media originally arose out of. So we've got some great support around us, and we've got great insight coming from our creators and our guests. I mean, you mentioned Tim McCormick. Tim McCormick does such a fantastic job. Listen, as a football former football player, is a football guy, and we've also got football shows, and we're adding more. As a matter of fact, we're going to be launching a show with hosted by Caden Colasar, which we're really excited about. He played on the 3 recent championship teams. And what was I lost my track of thought. Oh, what I was going to say is Tim McCormick is so knowledgeable and so insightful. And I'll tell you what, you watch his previews of upcoming games and keys to the game, and then you watch the game and it plays out exactly as he laid it out. And I think people have really appreciated that. You know, you see in the comments, people are really, I think, digging the fact that they can tune in, follow the team, and get the real, the real insights. The same with Maddie and Jordan Hobbs, Maddie Nolan and Jordan Hobbs. We've just got people that know their stuff, and that was kind of what we set out to do, have former student athletes tell student athletes stories. Not, these are the people who made these things happen and know this stuff. They were in the arena. They were on the field. We've got hosts that know what's going on, and they have access to former athletes who respect the fact that they're coming onto a show with a host who played. So as long as we keep doing that, we know that the quality of what we put out is going to be there, and it'll allow us to continue to build, add more shows, which we're doing, and we're on our way. We're really excited about it.
And keeping sports fun. That's what it's all about, too. So much today we see in media as the debate around our teams, and it gets so hostile when you have a group of fans who have been there and done that, are connecting with fans, or connecting with players. You get to really see why sports brings so many people together. Doug, want to thank you for coming on the show today. Appreciate your time as you celebrate the University of Michigan's men's basketball title. And, of course, want to preview all your coverage on Hail Media. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, and I appreciate your, your humility, because I know this was not the outcome you wanted, but I appreciate you, Tyler.
Wow. Yeah, not the outcome I was hoping for in that national championship game. But then again, I was hoping to have my Michigan State Spartans there. So it wasn't going to work out one way or the other. Glad that Doug and the crew at Hail Media Group are happy after a big season for the Michigan Wolverines on the hardwood that resulted in a national championship, and then both celebrating with a parade and hanging their banner just over the past weekend. You can follow Hail Media Group across all social media. Find their podcasts and their other content at Hail Media Group. That's their handle all across the board: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, and more. At Hail Media Group is the place to go if you're a Wolverines fan and want to follow U of M right here close to home. In the heart of the Lakes, a restaurant that started a pizza revolution that has taken Michigan by storm and persisted for over 70 years. Jake Schaff has the story.
Buscemi's, we like to give back to the community. Our community has been so welcoming to us these past years, and in order to celebrate our 70th year here, we wanted to give back, and we're just running a bunch of specials for the month of April, and every day's got a new special. They feature a little 70 notion, I'd say. So it's just kind of giving back every single day and seeing what we can do for the community.
And 70 years, that truly shows how much something has become a staple of the community, and for customers to keep stopping by and to be enjoying this great food year after year.
Yeah, so that's the thing, is just kind of producing quality, giving the people what they want. We're very receptive to feedback. Any special requests that customers have, we're always ready to give it to them. We constantly update our menu, and we're always putting new stuff in our hot tub, just trying new things and, trying to see what the community likes, and we love serving good food to everybody.
It's impacted the community really well. We love to give back with good deals, bring positive energy here. We want the customers to come here happy, leave with a smile, come in with a smile, and just help out everybody in the community. The food is great. When you work here almost every day, you eat a lot. It makes you very, very happy. And anyone who comes in here will be happy. I can tell you that much.
They love it. They're always talking about it. They're like, wow, Buscemi's been around for 70 years, and obviously I haven't been around for 70 years to experience it all, but everybody that comes in here is happy. They always got a smile on their face. We smile with everyone who comes in. We're just trying to be friendly and, connect with the community.
And last question, what do you hope Buscemi's continues to bring to Keego Harbor and to Greater West Bloomfield in the next several years?
Good food, good customer service, everybody walks out of here with a smile. That's the biggest thing for us, and we just love getting good feedback. And as long as people keep on telling us our food is great, we're going to keep on providing it. And if anybody wants us to change in some way, we're always receptive to feedback, and we're ready to adapt whichever way we may need to.
You know, I hope they it remembers the food, the people that work here, and just overall the name and how long it's been around for, and the great people that have made the name bigger and bigger. And yeah, that's really it.
You can see their full menu and maybe even consider ordering a pizza pie from a Keego Harbor classic on originalbuscemi's.com, or stop in and say congrats at their home base on Cass Lake Road between Beachland and Otter in Keego Harbor. Appreciate the report, Jake. That's our show. I want to remind you that television that's close to home is always available online on civiccentertv.com and on our social media as well. Big thank you to our crew, Jonathan Montgomery and Calvin Brown at Master Control, and Jake Schaff out in the field making the magic happen today. And here's to you for joining in and being a part of that magic yourself as well. For our entire team, I'm Tyler Kieft. Live, local, social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV.